What's going on, guys? The rather interesting 2019 NFL free agency period is now over, and the top players have finally found their new homes. Now we sit back for the next few years and see which teams struck gold and which ones struck out. It is early, and it'll take some time before we find out which big contracts panned out and which ones flopped. But right off the bat, we can tell which teams and players are going to look back fondly on the 2019 offseason. We're here to tell you who those winners are and why we believe they've won the offseason. I'm Jason Biondo, and today we present 10 winners from 2019 NFL free agency. Don't forget to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications. Join that notification squad, the dopest squad out there. Go join it. We post videos every day. Number 10, Green Bay Packers. The Packers wisely waited it out a bit before striking gold in free agency. The front office once again followed tradition by not spending big dollars on veterans. The Packers stayed patient and found some guys who will surely upgrade their young up-and-coming defense. They bolstered their pass rush by adding Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith for $52 and $66 million respectively. Led by Blake Martinez, Green Bay already had a solid pass rush and front seven, but it should be even more dangerous in 2019. And finally, the Packers added safety Adrian Amos on a 4-year, $37 million deal. That's a steal for a guy who has been one of the top-graded safeties by Pro Football Focus over the last 2 years now. Okay, so this defense should be a championship caliber unit. If Aaron Rodgers and the offense can regain its usual form, the Packers will be in the running for a Super Bowl. Number 9, Baltimore Ravens. Some folks are pegging the Ravens as a loser here. After all, they did lose veteran Pro Bowlers C.J. Mosley, Terrell Suggs, and Eric Weddle. But we're looking at it from a different perspective. The Ravens released Weddle, but wound up with a younger and better option in Pro Bowler Earl Thomas. Baltimore inked him to a 4-year deal worth $55 million, and he should fit in nicely on the NFL's best secondary. Baltimore also found a reliable veteran to help out the run game, adding New Orleans Saints veteran Mark Ingram. The $15 million deal over 3 years is a bit of an overpay, but he should still produce in that Lamar Jackson-led offense. Ingram will be a great fit in Baltimore with his strong leadership skills and powerful running game. The Ravens were smart to avoid overpaying C.J. Mosley, whom the Jets handed $85 million to. Losing Suggs is tough, but the Ravens defense will be just fine without him. The Ravens should be a force in the AFC in 2019, thanks in large part to another tremendous offseason. Number 8, Buffalo Bills. Brandon Beane played a very smart strategy in free agency, ensuring that he addressed roster weaknesses without overpaying for veteran talent. Beane's bargain shopping tactics might just help accelerate this rebuild in Buffalo. The awful offensive line should get better after Beane added center Mitch Morse on a 4-year deal worth $44.5 million. He also found some much-needed wide receiver help for Josh Allen. Beane signed lightning-quick wideout John Brown and reliable slot receiver Cole Beasley, who should help move the sticks on third down situations. We also love the Frank Gore signing. The future Hall of Famer will be a great locker room leader as the young Bills try to make another tap in 2019. Number 7, Detroit Lions. After a disappointing first year under head coach Matt Patricia, the Detroit Lions wasted no time in shoring up roster weaknesses. The Lions pulled off the good old strategy of signing former Patriots to help instill a championship culture. In comes Danny Amendola, who signed a cheap 1-year deal. He disappointed in Miami, but Amendola should be a nice security blanket for Matthew Stafford, and he'll help the Lions plenty on third down situations. The Lions also signed the top pass rusher available in Trey Flowers, who spent 3 seasons with Patricia in New England. Flowers earned a 5-year, $90 million deal. Yes, that's a bit much, but he's still going to produce. Flowers was a monster for the Patriots in the playoffs, and he should boost the Lions' pass rush that will miss Ziggy Ansah. And finally, the Lions upgraded their secondary by signing Justin Coleman. This is the type of guy that should shine in Patricia's defense. We love every bit of it. He and Darius Slay are going to have plenty of success together. This is still an ongoing rebuild in Detroit, but the front office made some big leaps by helping to shape the championship caliber defense Patricia is trying to construct. Number 6, offensive linemen. We saw plenty of offensive linemen receive big contracts last year, only to disappoint mightily in 2018. Andrew Norwell and Nate Solder come to mind. Well, that didn't stop offensive linemen from getting paid the big bucks once again in 2019. In fact, you didn't have to be a Pro Bowler to earn the big cash. Roger Saffold, the top guy available, earned a 4-year, $44 million deal from the Tennessee Titans. Trent Brown had a career year with the New England Patriots in 2018 after struggling for 3 years in San Francisco. Product of the Patriot system? Probably. Probably, but the Oakland Raiders gave him a 4-year, $66 million deal. Off-injured center Mitch Morse still managed to land a 4-year, $44.5 million contract. And even though he had a very frustrating tenure in Miami, tackle Jawan James was given a 4-year, $51 million pact from the Denver Broncos. So the deal was this: if you were a fairly average to above average offensive lineman, you got paid more than enough to be set for life. No matter how these offensive linemen perform, at least they're financially secured forever now. Number 5, San Francisco 49ers. It was another big offseason for 49ers GM John Lynch, who wasted no time adding veteran talent to a roster full of young star power. His biggest move was acquiring Kansas City Chiefs stud pass rusher Dee Ford, who should beef up a scary defensive line that includes Solomon Thomas and DeForest Buckner. The 49ers added Atlanta Falcons super weapon Tevin Coleman on a modest 2-year deal worth $10 million. He reunited with head coach Kyle Shanahan, who was Coleman's offensive coordinator during his finest years in Atlanta. San Francisco also added so many playmakers to their defense. They started by inking Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker Quan Alexander to a 4-year, $54 million deal. If Jimmy Garoppolo stays healthy in 2019, the 49ers will be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And you guys heard it here first. Number 4, Tennessee Titans. The Titans had an excellent offseason last year, but injuries to quarterback Marcus Mariota ultimately killed their playoff chances. That's alright though, they'll be back. And to make sure that happened, John Robinson wasted absolutely no time in upgrading an already super talented roster. Obviously, Corey Davis was the only true playmaking wide receiver for Mariota, while Robinson added coveted free agent receiver Adam Humphries on a bargain 4-year deal worth $36 million. The latter will help extend the chains and give Mariota that security blanket. The Titans suddenly have a scary looking passing game now. Tennessee also signed offensive lineman Roger Saffold and added Pro Bowl pass rusher Cameron Wake on a 3-year deal worth $23 million. He brings plenty of energy and depth to one of the league's top defenses. And for safety measures, the Titans landed Miami Dolphins quarterback Ryan Tannehill in a trade, then got him to reconstruct his deal. They now have perhaps the league's best backup QB in case Mariota gets hurt. Another tremendous offseason for Robinson here. If the core guys stay healthy, the Titans will be a strong Super Bowl dark horse. Number 3, New York Jets. Once again, the Jets entered this offseason with a plethora of salary cap space. And unlike last year, the Jets actually spent it wisely this time around. The big catch, of course, was Pittsburgh Steelers Pro Bowl running back Le'Veon Bell, who was inked to a 4-year contract worth $52.5 million. That powers up their ground game and gives quarterback Sam Darnold a new weapon to work with. Bell should be a huge force as a running back and pass catcher. He's one of the game's most dynamic playmakers and should help this offense reach another level in 2019. And the term and money isn't as huge as some would have feared. Luckily for the Jets, the market for Bell wasn't so great, so they got him at a very reasonable price. We're not big on the $85 million deal that inside linebacker CJ Mosley got, but he will provide an upgrade on their defense anyway. He's a great locker room leader as well, and the Jets can offer to overpay here with all their cap space. The Jets also re-signed defensive lineman Henry Anderson, who recorded 7 sacks last year. And finally, they signed a speedy playmaking wideout in Jamison Crowder to a very reasonable 3-year, $28.5 million deal. He instantly becomes the top wide receiver on the Jets. So Gang Green beefed up their defense and added 2 big-time weapons for their young quarterback. That's a huge win, and the rebuild is finally looking like it may lead to something great. Number 2, safeties. You'd think that with a plethora of Pro Bowl safeties hitting the open market, many of them would come cheap. No sir. If you were a secondary patroller, this was your year to hit the open market. Though many, including us, were critical of the Landon Collins free agent signing, credit the man for earning himself so much cash, $84 million for a safety in this day and age. Nobody saw that coming. And even though Pro Bowler Earl Thomas is coming off a broken leg that cut his season short, it doesn't stop him from earning a huge payday. 4 years and $55 million for a safety entering his age 30 season? Wow. It didn't stop there. Tyrann Mathieu left the Houston Texans and joined the powerhouse Kansas City Chiefs, earning a 3-year deal worth $42 million. If he plays well throughout the duration of his contract, Mathieu will hit the open market and sign another mega deal. This was a huge win for the Pro Bowler. LaMarcus Joyner isn't as big of a name as these other 3 safeties, but the former LA Rams standout got a 4-year pact worth $42 million. Raise your kids to be safeties. What else can we really say? Number 1, Nick Foles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. What a comeback story. Nick Foles thought about pondering retirement when his days as an NFL starter seemingly came to an end. He was a backup for the Kansas City Chiefs, but would rejoin the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017, reuniting with Doug Peterson and becoming Carson Wentz's understudy. Wentz tore his ACL late in the 2017 season, and at that time, nobody could have thought that Foles was about to enter the spotlight again. But enter the spotlight he did. Foles led the Eagles to a Super Bowl 52 victory, where they defeated the New England Patriots. The Super Bowl MVP also had to fill in for an injured Wentz in the 2018 season, and he led them back to the postseason. Philly was oh so close to reaching the NFC Championship game, but they fell just a couple plays short in the divisional round. After 2 brief impressive runs in Philly, Foles revived his career and became one of the most sought-after quarterbacks in NFL free agent history. The Jacksonville Jaguars handed Foles a 4-year deal worth $88 million. That is not a bad payday at all for a guy who had only pondered retirement a couple years earlier. Now Foles gets rewarded handsomely with a big check and the chance to become a perennial Pro Bowler. Oh, and the Jaguars finally upgraded quarterback after ending the Blake Bortles era. All Foles has to do is play half as good as he did in Philly, and Saxonville will be back competing for Super Bowls. And that, folks, is why Foles and the Jaguars are the biggest winners in free agency. Now it's time for them to prove us right by going out and winning Super Bowl 54. Who do you think was the biggest winner in NFL free agency? Join us in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and Total Pro Sports on social media. Great content all the time. Go follow our Instagram, go follow TPS on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every single week. At least go check everything out and give it a look. And if you like it, follow us and subscribe. I think it's a good idea. You should also subscribe to TPS because we post videos every single day. So subscribe and like this video if you liked it. Right down there. Both right there. Just 2 clicks. Like, subscribe. Done. You have accomplished something in your day. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo, and I'll see you next time.
My knee.